I think we live. What's up, sports world, man? This is One Take Zaiah. I got my man SEC Sean in the building, man. We are live to you on this Sunday morning. We got WTP Sports Dudes, Robert himself in the building as well. We're going to be going over first team all conference projections for all of Power Four conferences today. How you doing, Rob? What's up with you?
I'm doing good, bro. Good to see you here this morning. I appreciate you having me.
What's up with you, Sean? You all right?
Yeah, we're doing good. Wanting to get into this a little bit. That guy up in the upper right corner over there, he might have a lot of people on my list trying to do a reverse jinx here.
I know that's right.
Hey, I know when we get to the SEC, I know we're gonna see a lot of Texas and Texas A&M, man. Hey, man, listen though, we're gonna start with the Big 12. I mean the ACC, not the Big 12. I'm sorry. We're gonna start with the ACC. Before we get into the ACC, if you are in the chat, please drop your comments on who you believe will be on these first teams. Quarterback, running back, receivers, and defense. We taking whole defenses. Let us know what you think. If we got it wrong in your opinion, let us know, man. We all for the comments. But to start off with the ACC, Rob, we're gonna go to you first, man. Who you think is gonna have the first team honors at quarterback?
Man, this is a really tough one. I was torn between Jennings at SMU and Darian Mensah at Miami. It might be a few other guys out there too. But you know what? I'm going with the underdog in this one, and I'm going with Kevin Jennings. I think that's his first name. He's been in this conference for a third year. I'm going with him. I'm taking him to be first team All AC at the quarterback position. Even though Mensa has more weapons than him, I think he's going to be so dynamic this year, and I'm giving him the first team nod.
Let's welcome in T1 into the show. What's up, T1? Good morning, brother.
Good morning, my brothers. What it do? What it do? How y'all feeling? It's a beautiful day, man. I love being alive, man.
Facts, man. Hey, that rain cooled it down a little bit for you. I hope that heat ain't tear you up yesterday.
Man, I'm just coming back from Kentucky, back in time. So we ain't getting no rain. Oh man, sorry about that, y'all. It just ended up being beautiful, man. I'll be right back, y'all.
All
Sorry
right,
about that.
SEC, Sean, we're going to go ahead and get to you. Who you got as your first team All ACC QB?
I actually went Jennings as well. I think Mensa and Jennings are the top two, but I think Jennings is going to be a little more dynamic with his legs. So I put him a little bit higher up. Plus the fact Rob mentioned he'd been in the conference. This will be his third year. SMU's like 21-2 or 21-1 in conference in the last 2 years with him as the quarterback, and he's just got more experience. So I went with Jennings.
Yeah, not a bad pick. I had Kevin Jennings on my sheet. I wrote him down as second. I had to go with Darian Mensah, man. 34-6. It's like the Miami Hurricanes knew, like, all right, they identified the best, maybe the best quarterback in the conference, and went and got him. I think we're gonna see some Cam Ward magic with Mensah over there in Miami this year. Uh, but let's start with you on the running back, Sean. I'm gonna come right back to you. Who you got as your first team All ACC running back?
Well, this was kind of a toss-up too. I like Fletcher out of Miami, but I went a little off the radar because of what he does as a receiver as well. And I'm just going to straight up say I totally forgot about Louisville, but I went Damond Reed out of Pitt. Had a great amount, of rushing yards last year. I believe was the leading receiver for that Pitt team. And if I'm not mistaken, their quarterback was a true freshman last year. The one that played at the end of the season, at least. So,
Yeah.
I think he's only going to get better. So I went a little bit off the radar based on full stats of what a running back can do, and went with Reed out of Pittsburgh.
Who you got at first team All ACC, Rob?
Running back, I got I'm gonna go with Fletcher out of Miami. I think what we saw him do at the back end of the season last year, especially in those playoffs, I think he's gonna be a instrumental part in what they do this year. I'm going with Fletcher out of Miami as the first team running back.
Yeah, man, I went Isaac Brown. I think he has enough importance for the success of his offense to where they're going to have to rely on him heavy. So I went Isaac Brown right there from Louisville. Um, let's go ahead to our first receiver, um, and we're going to start with you on this one, Rob. Who you got for me?
Man, I mean, I've been raving about this Malachi Tony kid out of Miami a whole lot. So I'm going with Malachi Tony as one of the wide receivers on first team All ACC going into the season. Do you want me to give another one too?
Nah, we're going to get to the second one. Who
Okay.
you got, Sean?
Same. I went Malachi Tony as the one wide receiver. So
Yeah,
I think that was a
clean,
pretty easy pick right there. Yeah.
clean sweep, clean sweep. I
Yeah.
think you get tricky when you get to your second and third receivers. Really, they put three receivers on first team. We only going to do two today for this assignment. But that's a clean sweep. We know Malachi Tony is probably one of the better receivers. He'd be up for the Bernard Award as well. Um, but who's your second receiver? Sean, let's go ahead and jump to you. Who you got as your second
Uh,
receiver on first team?
you're right. There was a lot of this is where it gets tricky trying to choose the second. And if we did a third, it'd get even worse. But I went with the person who I believe has to have another phenomenal year for the team to do anything. And I went with Deuce Robinson out of Florida State.
Yeah, I went with Deuce Robinson as well because the guy, man, last year, what we saw him be able to do, especially in clutch time. Now, he had a few drops in some of those games that really could have helped them possibly win a game or two more. But I really like Deuce Robinson, the size, his route running tree, his ability to catch 50-50 balls. I really like Deuce Robinson. He almost was number one on my list. But when you see the dynamic way that Malachi Tony affects the game, I had to go with him at one, Deuce Robinson at two.
Another clean sweep, I guess. I got Deuce Robinson as well. Hey, we the WTP sports dudes. We all on one accord right now. It sounds like Deuce Robinson. I think he gonna get the numbers and the stats, and I just think he's the best player on that offense. I think he get about 14, 1500 this year. Um, let's go ahead and move on to the defensive side. We taking the whole defense. We're not doing positions for the sake of this experiment. But Rob, I'm coming right back to you. Who would you take as your first team All ACC defense this year out of the ACC?
It's really hard not to take Miami's defense. I feel like Miami's defense, even though they got some holes to plug with Mesidor leaving and with Ruben Bain leaving to the NFL, I still think that they're going to be a really, really talented football team. They have some good players in the secondary. I think their linebackers are going to be better with the year of experience that they got. I'm going with Miami's defense, but I'm telling you right now, I know Clemson was down last year, but Clemson was right there because I feel like they got some defensive guys on their defensive front that's really going to be spectacular this year. So Clemson was nipping on Miami's heels, but I'm going to go with Miami as the number one defense in the ACC.
Well, I think it's flipped. I think Miami is nipping at Clemson's heels because I have Clemson number one and Miami number two. I like what Clemson brings back. I mean, a bunch of those guys could have gone to the draft, but I think that taste of the way the season played out for them just kind of had a bad taste, and they wanted to come back and prove that that's not Clemson. So I think Clemson's got so much coming back. Miami's going to be good, no lie, but that's hard to replace those two bookends at that level. So I went Clemson.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you, Sean. You got Sammy Brown at linebacker, Will Help at edge. Ashton Hampton at corner. It's just a guy on every level of the field for Clemson. I just see that defense probably being the better defense, the best defense in the ACC this year. If they can listen, I've been high on Clemson this offseason. I keep telling y'all, I seen um, I don't want to mispronounce his name. I want to say it's Vizino. Excuse me if I'm wrong, though. At quarterback, I seen when he came in the game last year. I seen some flashes. I think if they can get good play out of him, man, they're gonna be in the thick of this ACC this year. All because of that defense too, though. I like that defense though. It's guys everywhere on there. Let's go ahead and pivot to the Big 12.
Before you get to the Big 12, man, I would like to get y'all's floor and ceiling on what y'all think Clemson is going to be this year. Because I actually started looking at Clemson a little bit more recently because I just was down on them, man, because of how they performed last year. But I got to give Dabo Swinney some credit because I know he's going to be a much better coach this year, man, after going through the adversity he went through last year. What do y'all see as Clemson's floor and ceiling this season in terms of their record?
I think Clemson's defense is going to have to lead the way. That offense is what I'm not 100% sold on. Do like the quarterback. You're right, Zay. Quarterback showed flashes. It's different showing flashes and playing the whole season too. So, I fully expect Clemson. I think their floor is going to be 6-6, and I think their ceiling is somewhere around 10-2.
Yeah, see, I'm right around that same range with you. I think their floor is 7-5. They opened the season with LSU. They also got who else they got on the schedule? Miami. They got Miami at home. They got Virginia Tech at home, who I think Virginia Tech will be a solid team as well. Georgia Tech at home, and South Carolina at home. So I think that most of their main games they got at home outside of that LSU game, who they go on the road. So I could see a ceiling for real as 11-1 team. Honestly, if you could split LSU and Miami, and you get the rolling throughout the season, you might become the favorites in all them games going into that week. So I just got to see what it looked like game one. If they can get that win at LSU, man, they right on the path of touching that 11-1, maybe even 12-0 by the time they meet Miami. You just don't know. It's the college football world. We done seen crazier things happen. So I think 11-1.
Do they dodge Louisville and SMU?
Yes, they do.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't have their schedule up when Rob throwing curveballs at me. I didn't have their schedule up, so I think I went 6-6. I could see 7-5, what you say, but that swing game is that LSU game, and I think it's a benefit that they're getting LSU early.
So, but it ain't a benefit that they playing them on the road.
No.
Y'all, anything about the ACC else that y'all want to talk? I guess, Sean, you had a coach you wanted to throw out there, get some recognition to. If you want to, you can.
I'm coach right now. I'm going Cristobal, but if you want to go length of time, you got to go Dabo. But right now, the first team coach in the ACC has to be Mario Cristobal.
Coach of the year.
Yeah.
Could y'all see them giving it to James Franklin in his first year at Virginia Tech if they finish somewhere around 8-4, 9-3?
Yes, absolutely.
I could. Easy.
Coach of the year sometimes is not necessarily about who had the best year, but what are your circumstances? So Virginia Tech been down for a while now.
Yeah,
I could easily see if he went 8-4, 8-4. we ain't seen a good Virginia Tech team in some years, man. So to go in there and get an 8 or 9 win team, absolutely he'd be in the running for coach of the year. That's a major turnaround. And I think that conference need a team like Virginia Tech to kind of uplift the ACC. They need a team like them, that used to have really good teams back in the early 2000s to kind of get going to help the strength of that conference. And I think he can do it too. They was also blessed by the schedule gods.
Yeah, see, I did like a preseason coach of the year too. I'm not looking into the season coach of the year. I'm looking more preseason when I'm looking at my coach.
Yeah.
All right, let's pivot to the Big 12. We're gonna start off with you, Sean. Who's your first team All Big 12 quarterback?
Well, if you've listened to the shows, you know I'm extremely high on one certain team out of the Big 12. And I'm going with the Houston Texan native and Connor Wegman. With his receiving quarterback and another year of experience, I think you're going to see Connor explode. Not saying he's going to be like the number 1 draft pick, but he's going to climb draft boards this year, I believe. So I went Connor Wegman, especially with, of course, Brendan Sorsby being out. But that was my quarterback.
I'm gonna go with Fafita. I think that's his name, out of Arizona. I think he has an opportunity to really light up this league this year, man. I think he has a lot of experience. I like that Wigman pick too, because he has a lot of experience too, playing some big time ball down there in Texas. I think he started off at Texas A&M. Is that right, SEC, Sean? Yeah, so I like him as well. But I'm going to go with Fafita out of Arizona. I think this is the year for him to really make some things happen and get that Arizona team in a better position than they were last year, possibly in position to fight for the Big 12 championship.
Hey, listen, it's always a new champion in the Big 12 almost every year. This is where we get the stir in the pot. We all got 3 different answers. Sean with Wigman, and Rob just went with Noah Fafita out of Arizona. And I'm going to go to Kansas State, man. I think Avery Johnson's time is to step up now. I'm going Avery Johnson. He pushed Will Howard out as a true freshman. Will Howard came over to Ohio State. He's been starting since then. It's time, man. It's your junior year. You got all the experience and reps you need, man. I think he should have a big year. Go ahead.
Don't forget that Avery Johnson also has A&M's offensive coordinator from last year as his head coach, who was a Heisman finalist at Kansas State back in the day. So he knows how to deal with a mobile quarterback.
That's fire. That's a good detail to know when I get to start my parlays.
Right. Right.
Hey, Rob, let's flip over to you. Who's your first team All Big 12 running back?
I mean, I think it might be a clean sweep here with L.J. Martin, running back out of BYU. Big bruising guy, can run that inside zone whenever you need that short yardage. Outside zone too, whenever they block it and scheme it right. I like L.J. Martin to be the number 1 running back on first team in the Big 12.
Right there, L.J. Martin. And I think he's the best. There was a couple other names, but for what he provides, it's got to be L.J. Martin in my mind.
Yeah, it's not a clean sweep, though, guys. I went another direction, man. I think Texas Tech got Cameron Dickey, and I think with Sorsby been out, they're going to have to lean on him heavy, until, Will Hammond come around. So I went Cameron Dickey as my first team running back. Yeah, Cameron Dickey. They got 2 good running backs too, though. The other guy is pretty solid too. That's behind him.
Don't sleep on Bryson Washington out of Baylor either.
Yeah, that kid is nice. Let's go. Let's shoot to you, Sean, with your first team receiver from All Big 12.
To me, this was probably an easy one. Again, I'm going to jump back to the roots down there in Houston, Texas, and I'm going to jump on Amari Thomas. With him back, with Wegman again, another year of building continuity, I just think he's going to explode this year. So I went with Thomas out of Houston.
I'm gonna go a different direction. This guy was a Blalitnikov semifinalist last year. He's transferred to Colorado. I'm going with Danny Scudero. I think that's how you say his name.
Scudero, something like that.
Scudero. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that guy, man. I think that he's gonna have an opportunity to be the man over there at Colorado. I think they're gonna scheme some things offensively around his skill set and give him an opportunity to be the top receiver in this conference. So I'm going with him out of Colorado.
Not a bad pick. I was torn between him and the two guys that I have, and I'm in agreement with Sean. Amari Thomas is my first team all Big 12 selection at wide receiver. The kid is out of this world. But Danny, he definitely got the potential to be the top dog in that Big 12 conference. Who? Let's shoot back right to you, Rob. Who you got as your second all Big 12 wide receiver?
Amari Thomas was my second one. I thought a lot about Amarion Miller too, man, but I got to go with Amari Thomas. I think that him and Wigman, man, they going to light it up, bro. They going to light it up. And I know Wigman, much like we say Julian Saints should be looking for Jeremiah Smith on every passing play, I think that Wigman is going to have to look for Thomas on every play. And then if it ain't there, then you go somewhere else.
Yeah, mine. I went a little different here too. I went with Jordan Dwyer out of TCU.
Yeah.
I know they lost their quarterback, but I just think he's too electric. He's too much of a playmaker, I think. So I think he'll be fine. So that's I went with Dwyer out of Tech. I looked at a couple of maybe from Tech, maybe a kid there, but I just don't know what they're going to get the quarterback spot. Neither do TCU, but I like Dwyer out of TCU.
Hey, we know the Big 12 is a passing league for real. It's some receivers out there. I went a whole different direction. I went Wyatt Young from Oklahoma State. So yeah, it's some dudes out there for sure. Hey, let's jump into defense, Rob. We're gonna start with you. Who you got as the defense that you see is going to be the best unit out there in the Big 12 this year?
I mean, when you got Cody Campbell spending the kind of money he's spending, man, you know Texas Tech is usually the team that you think is going to be there. But, I'm going to go a different direction. I'm going to go with BYU. I think they're going to be really gritty and stingy this year. I think especially when you go to Provo. When you go to Provo, you're going to see a BYU defense that's going to be super stingy. And I'm going to go with them as the number one defense in the Big 12 this year. Even though I know Texas Tech is going to probably have the best defense with all that money they spent. But I'm going with BYU. I think they're going to be shutting some folks down, especially when they come to Provo.
Yeah, I'm sticking with the money. Give me Texas Tech's defense. We saw what they bought last year for defense, which, Rob, you've played Tech enough with Texas, and so have I with A&M. We know that there's never been any defense out there.
Yeah.
And last year flipped the total script. I mean, I think I watched them play BYU, and I think they forced about 97 turnovers. So I'm going to stick with the money and Texas Tech and what they got going out there.
Yeah, I went with Texas Tech as well. I like what Texas Tech did in the portal. Went and got Austin Romaine from Kansas State. Very good, solid linebacker. They got Trey White for San Diego State. Trey White had I wouldn't say a bad year last year. But 2 years ago, he had 12 and a half sacks. Last year, I think he dipped down to like 7. So maybe they can, implement some of their schemes and put him in a better position this year to get those numbers up. Ben Roberts was one of the best linebackers in the country. He was overshadowed by Jacob Rodriguez. And then, of course, yesterday I talked about Bryce Pollock, who's a ball hawking cornerback. I think he's going to be right there in the thick of things in the Jim Thorpe Award. I don't think he'll win it, but I think he'll definitely finish somewhere up there. They got dudes everywhere on that defense. So yeah, Texas Tech is my first team, all Big 12 defense. All right, let's get into the SEC, SEC, SEC. Hey, listen, we got two SEC guys, man. So I'm gonna just start it off with my quarterback. Sean, we go to you first, and then Rob, we'll finish off with you with your quarterback. Man, I took Marcel Reed, man, to get first team All SEC quarterback honors this year. I think he could take a step in the right direction of not being so sporadic. I think we'll see more consistency out of him this year. And I've been looking at schedules, and I just feel like he got a lot of moments where he could just play himself into a big time, what's it called? Big. What am I looking for? The word I'm looking for. Just accolades, a big time moment to get accolades under his belt this year. So I went Marcel Reed, man, as my quarterback. What you got, Sean?
In this conference this year, this is tough. So I cheated, and I took Gunner, Trinidad, Arch, Reed. I took Arch. I took Arch. I think for Texas to have the season they want to have, it has to be led by Arch. I was really torn between Arch and Trinidad, but I give the lean to Arch just slightly. Reed was probably third on my list, though, Zay, but I appreciate the shout out there because I don't think anybody else is going to pick him to be all SEC. But I went Arch.
Man, when I looked at this one, there's some good quarterbacks in this thing. But to me, it came down to Marcel Reed and Arch Manning because I feel like they got the best group of weapons out of any of these quarterbacks in the SEC. It came down to those two for me. And I feel like Marcel Reed has the most experience at the quarterback position. And not that he has the most to prove, but I feel like with that experience and all the adversity that he has faced, he has a really good chance of being the first team quarterback in the SEC. But, of course, I'm going to be a homer and go with Arch Manning because I feel like the legs he has is probably going to be the difference. Even though Marcel Reed can run, Marcel Reed really wants to stay in the pocket and hit those guys downfield because he's a little bit smaller built. So I'm going to go with Arch Manning, but I think Marcel Reed is going to be nipping on his heels for that. And they both got a lot of opportunities to have a lot of Heisman Trophy type moments this season because they had both played a really good schedule against some really good opponents going into some really, really good stadiums on the road. So I think they both going to have a chance to compete for that number one spot as the number one quarterback, first team in the SEC.
Go ahead.
Did Rob just say that Marcel Reed's too scrawny to run or something? Is that what he's throwing shots?
He looks like he's a little slighter, but he's tall. He got some height on him, but he doesn't look real big. How much?
Go look at him. Well, go look at him now. Go look at him.
I ain't seen him since last season.
The one thing that concerns me with him, though, Rob, is the change of OC to Holman Wiggins, and I think it's actually going to help him because Holman Wiggins, the wide receiver coach, he's going to want to spread the ball around. But yeah, Marcel's put on some mass this offseason somewhere. I don't know where it came from. Don't care. Just glad he got it.
Yeah, that's good. Let me ask you guys this though, while we on these quarterbacks. We know Lane is a QB whisperer, man. How much do you guys think Sam Levitt will benefit and have a guy like Lane in his ear in the terms of looking at this first team all SEC quarterback running?
My thought on it is Sam Levitt, he's going to benefit from Lane if Sam Levitt can stay healthy. That's why I can't put him there because you don't know if he's going to be able to play half the season, a full season, 3/4, a quarter. You just don't know. Everybody I've heard said that injury he had is very, very, very likely to be re-injured. So, but he'll benefit if he can stay healthy 100% from having Lane in his ear.
One thing that I think Lane is going to help him with is his pocket presence and his ability to stay in that pocket and throw, and maybe allow himself another half a second or so to be able to make some of the throws that he can make. His athleticism is off the charts for me. I think he's a really good running quarterback, but I don't think Lane is gonna use him in that way. I think Lane is going to show him how to have a better pocket presence and be able to keep his head up to get passes down the field. At Arizona State, even though he had a really good weapon, that weapon stayed hurt a lot. And of course, he stayed hurt a lot, and he had to do a lot more running last year because he didn't have that dynamic running back, even though he had a good one. I think that he's going to understand that, and Lane's going to be able to take him to another level. I think it's going to help him tremendously, and I'm looking forward to seeing Sam Levitt have the kind of season that you talked about 2 years ago when you were starting to talk about him, One Take Zaiah, because you brought him to my attention when he was at Arizona as a true freshman, or maybe I think he was a true freshman, yeah. So I think Sam Levitt is going to benefit greatly from having Lane Kiffin in his ear.
Yeah, they definitely beefed up that offensive line to try to protect him. Referring to them injuries, Sean. Hopefully he can stay upright, man. We just want to see all the best players on the field. Let's go ahead and jump right back to you, though, Rob. Who is your first team All SEC running back?
Man, it has to be Keywan Lacey, man, out of Mississippi. I got to go with him. What we saw him do last year, man, in the pass game, in the run game, inside zone, outside zone. He's just a dynamic runner, man. And when you get him in open space, it's to the house, man. I really like him at running back. Even though I think this conference is loaded with freaking running backs, Keywan Lacey is tops for me.
Yeah, I mean, running backs just looked. I mean, Hardy, Lacey, Ball, Smothers, and the other kid y'all got, Reuben Owens, if he lives to potential. I mean, there's running backs all over this. The kid out of Georgia, his name escapes me. I went Lacey. I think Frazier. But I went with Lacey here at my top running back, just exactly what Rob said. Not only can he run the ball between the tackles, he can bounce it. He can go out of the backfield, catch it, and make stuff happen. So, Lacey, I mean, I've got Lacey. He would trend to my offensive player of the year in the SEC.
Yeah, I was torn between Lacey and Ahmad Hardy. I didn't really know which one to pick, so I flipped the coin last night and it landed on Lacey. And that's just how it goes. But receivers, we can jump right into receivers. I'll start this one off. We go to you, Rob, and then Sean. My first receiver that I got on All SEC I'm going straight to Cam Coleman. People really talk about Cam Coleman in the same breath they talk about Jeremiah Smith. The dude is that dynamic. And I could see a real big year. If Texas is going to hit their ceiling, it's going to be Arch and Cam Coleman is the reason why they're going to hit their ceiling.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Craver out of Texas A&M. I feel like he's going to be a guy who's going to be the go-to guy for Marcel Reed, and I think they're going to have a lot of connections. Real shifty guy. I went with Craver. I think it's Mario Craver. Is that right? Yeah, out of Texas A&M. I think he's going to be the first team guy for me.
Yeah, I went Craver. Call it a homer pick, what you will. I think he's too dynamic. I think he's going to fill what KC was last year for Mario. He's going to have a whole nother year with him. You now got a big body on the outside in Horton that kind of relieves some pressure. So I think you're going to see Craver explode this year. And I put him as my number one wide receiver.
We're gonna jump back. We're gonna jump to you, Rob, on this one. Who's your second receiver?
My second receiver, man, I was torn between Ryan Williams and Cam Coleman, but I'm going with Cam Coleman. I feel like what he's about to bring to this Texas offense is going to benefit every last one of those players on the team on the offensive side. His ability, now his route running tree ain't that great, but his ability to take the top off of it, catch those 50-50 balls, I think he's going to be the guy who's going to allow Texas to really be what Texas wants to be, much like Steve Sarkisian had when he had that Alabama team. Maybe not as dynamic and as good, but I think that's what he's looking forward to doing this year. So I got Cam Coleman as my wide receiver number 2 on this all SEC team.
Yeah, I went Cam Coleman as well. I was really close to taking him out and putting in the Dallas Wilson kid from Florida because he's that electric, that Wilson kid is. So I went Cam Coleman. My only concern with Coleman is there's enough other weapons around. Are they going to take some numbers where Dallas Wilson is going to be like the man? So it's kind of a toss. Plus, I need to see Cam Coleman. I need to see him get a little better at controlling the ball. He has a lot of drops. Now, he didn't have the greatest quarterbacks at all. So we're going to see what happens. But he had some big drops. There was numerous times he was behind the defense, ball right over the top, just through his arms. I saw that about 3 times last year alone. So need to see that get cleaned up. So I went with Coleman, but I was real close to taking him out and putting in Dallas Wilson from Florida.
Yeah, I was torn between Nick Harbor from South Carolina and who I eventually put on my first team, which was Ryan Coleman Williams. Listen, I'm expecting to bounce back. I think they played him on the outside too much last year. In the slot too much last year. And they need to put him back on the outside and get him into space. And I think that's what they're going to do with him this year. But I went with Ryan Coleman Williams. Pound for pound, I think talent-wise, man, he's probably pound for pound the most talented receiver in the SEC. So I'm expecting to bounce back here. Whether it's Austin Mack throwing the ball or Keelan Russell, it really doesn't matter for me. All SEC defense, I'm going to start it off because I want to steal this from Rob. I'm going Texas. They got dudes everywhere. Colin Simmons at edge. Rasheem Bowles at linebacker. You got Jelani McDonald and you got Ian Greffard. They're all going to be leaders of that defense. I'm going Texas. I stole your pick, Rob. SEC, Sean, go ahead. We're going to let Rob get in more detail because we know it's coming.
Yeah, we definitely know it's coming. And that's one reason I couldn't pick Texas because I couldn't have a clean sweep with Texas. So I pivoted to Texas's nemesis and went with the Georgia Bulldogs. Kirby always has a defense. I'm a little hesitant on Texas. If you want to go pound for pound, talent for talent, it's Texas. I'm not sold on Muschamp. It's a whole new system. I want you to look back. He's been average-ish in the last couple times. So, and it's a whole new scheme for these players to learn. And we know all it takes is one, hey, you got the back, and I'm supposed to have the running back, and then it's a touchdown. One blown call. So I went with Georgia here, but it was pretty close. It was pretty close to me.
Man, y'all talked me into it. It's Texas, of course. I mean, look at what these guys have on their defense, bro. They got so many talented players from the front end Colin Simmons, you got Biles, you got Ty Anthony Smith at those linebacker positions. Then at the corner, even though they're relatively young, you got the young guy who was a true freshman that played the star position last year. You got Wardell Mack that's going to come in. Kobe Black decided to fall back to safety. You got Jelani McDonald back there. You got all bases covered on this Texas team, man. And they got a lot of young corners that are coming in. These guys are long, they're lean, they're physical. And I think Will Muschamp, if he can get these guys where they need to be in terms of understanding what he wants them to do, they can be much better. Because I think you watched the Texas team last year under PK, where he was allowing people to get first downs on those 3rd and 7s and those 3rd and 8s and then 3rd and 9s because he was playing so soft. Will Muschamp will not do that. He's going to make sure that those corners and those safeties are in position to keep those guys from getting to the sticks. I really like what this Texas defense is going to do. I think they're going to be extremely good against the run. When you got Hero Canoe, you got Alex January, you got Ian Gaffard, they're going to be really, really good. And you got Moran Watson. You got 4 guys at that defensive tackle position, and I'm not even talking about Myron Charles and Justice Terry and those guys who are going to be on that defense as well. This defense is going to be lights out, man. Kay Phillips at the corner. They're going to be unbelievable if they can get Will Muschamp's scheme down and play it really, really well. They're going to get tested week in and week out, especially once they get to Ohio State and then they get into that SEC schedule where we know they got an 8-game slate, straight 8 SEC games to finish the season. It's going to be unbelievable, man. But I think this Texas defense is going to be up for the challenge. They're going to be 2 and 3 deep at every position, which is what they need to be. And I think they're going to have the best defense in the SEC this season.
Hey, yeah, quick question. I heard the name Justice Terry. Is he going to be in rotation?
Justice Terry will be in rotation. Guess what? He is up around 285, 290 pounds now, which they've been trying to get him up there. Last year he was 270. So they put on at least 15, 20 pounds on him. If they can get him to stay in that range with his athleticism and his ability to be able to play either the 3 technique, 5 technique, he's going to be tough on some teams, man, because guards are not going to be quick enough and tackles are going to have a hard time with him.
Yeah, I remember his recruiting. We wanted him bad. We wanted him real bad. Anything y'all want to add about the SEC, Sean, Rob? All right, y'all know we going.
I'll tell you, the coach I'm going for in the SEC, by the way, for Coach of the Year, Summerall from Florida. That's my Coach of the Year pick in the SEC.
I mean, well, man, can y'all imagine what this conference can look like if and it's going to be hard to do because there's so many good teams in this conference that everybody can't finish the season 10-2, 9-3. Some guys are going to have to be 8-4 and 7-5. But what if Florida becomes good again? Oklahoma, Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Mississippi. What if those 6 teams can stay good? I'm probably leaving out Tennessee and probably somebody else. Auburn. You can have 8 really good teams in this conference, but somebody's got to finish 8-4 and 7-5. And I forgot Texas A&M. Did I forget them? Man, come on, bro. It could be 9 good teams in this conference, and somebody got to finish 7-5.
Yeah, I like what Florida doing over there. I gotta see it on the field though. And then Tennessee,
sure.
You know, they got that freshman at quarterback. I think they're gonna go through some pains this year. I like that running back they got though, Bishop. He's a monster. And you know, they always got dudes on that defense. But the league definitely looks strong. You know, when we never said the SEC never did look strong. You know, It's always been strong.
Keep an eye on Kentucky.
I think too soon.
It might be too soon, but watch the growth in this year in year one.
You know, Kentucky always one of them teams though that put talent in the NFL. You know, and they usually clip somebody every year. It never fails.
If they learned how to punt, they'd have clipped Texas last year.
They had us on the ropes, bro. I was gonna go to that game. I'm so glad I didn't. I would have been in that stands with the ugly face.
Hey, they almost beat Ole Miss last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, kind of 2 years in a row, they almost beat Georgia.
Yeah.
Before that,
them dudes know how to play football, man. Yeah. That ain't no game. You just wake up and be like, we gotta win. You know, you gotta come play.
And that's the fact. They've got dudes that can play, but now I think they have a coach that knows how to coach them to win. But it is going to take a year or two to get that culture built, you know. So,
yep. All right, y'all know where we got to go now. We got to go to the big dogs, you know, the Big Ten.
Oh, I didn't know we were doing the NFL. Oh, well, you mean the Big Ten. Okay.
You know what it is, Sean. Hey, them jokes ain't going to save you. They ain't going to save you from talking about the Big Ten, dogs.
Hey, NFL Europe or something?
Huh?
NFL Europe? Canadian League?
Oh, man. Hey, let's start with you, Rob, though. Who you got at first team, all Big Ten at quarterback?
Man, this was a really, really tough one, man, because I think this conference has a loaded quarterback room all across the board, man. They got some really good quarterbacks. I'm going to go with Dante Moore. I feel like he got two really, really dynamic receivers in Evan Stewart and DeCorian Moore. So I'm going to go with Dante Moore, the experience that he has. And I think that he's just going to be able to be the number one quarterback in this conference. But Julian Sang was nipping on his heels because I feel like he has the best weapon in college football. But I'm going with Dante Moore.
Yeah, I'm a Saiyan fan, but I'm gonna say it's Moore. While Ohio State and Saiyan has the best player in college football on his roster, I think Oregon has a bevy of weapons around Moore as well, and I think Moore's playing with kind of a chip on his shoulder this year. So we're going to see how that plays out. But Oregon, Evan Stewart has to figure out how to stay healthy. I've loved the kid. He was an A&M kid for a year before he transferred after Fisher left. He has to figure out how to stay healthy because that kid is dynamic when he is healthy. So, but I went Moore from Oregon. Yeah,
that's a clean sweep. You know, DeCorian Moore, Evan Stewart. Rob mentioned those names. Also, they got Iverson Hooks out of the portal. You know, Jamal Johnson, they spoke about his name. He got a little overshadowed by what's the tight end that went to the NFL? I can't think of his name right now. Got a little overshadowed by what's his name?
I can't remember his name either.
Yeah,
I know you're talking about.
It's on the tip of my tongue, but yeah, they got weapons everywhere. They got three running backs. They got so many running backs on their roster. Mekhi Hughes couldn't even get on the field last year, you know. So they just got weapons everywhere. It's gonna be a pick your poison type of team, you know. But Sean, let's jump to you. Who you got at running back for first team All Big Ten?
Real quick, you're talking about Sadiq from Oregon.
Yeah, Sadiq.
Kenyon Sadiq. Yeah.
Kenyon Sadiq, yeah.
My leading running, there was a couple here I could have picked from, but I leaned to Bo Jackson out of Ohio State based on what I saw him do last year as a freshman and the way he just built. And it seemed, which is odd to me, for a freshman to get stronger at the end of the year. Normally they're a little worn down and whatever, but I think the way that Ryan Day and that coaching staff used him kept him fresher at the end. So what he did at the end of the season gives me a lot of hope. And I put Bo Jackson as the number one running back in the Big Ten.
You know what? I went with Bo Jackson too, man, because I felt like if he probably started the season against Texas, they would have had a much better chance of running the football. I think people just wasn't seeing the holes. He just wasn't the type of runner that Bo Jackson is. And I feel like he's going to probably take another step or two this year, being the man starting off the season. He's going to give Ohio State that kind of bounce that we know every team wants to have when it comes to run and pass. He's going to take a lot off of Julian Sain's shoulders. He's going to take a lot off those wide receiver shoulders. I'm going with Bo Jackson. I think he's going to be dynamic, and he can run inside zone, outside zone. I feel like he's going to be the number one running back in this conference this year.
I appreciate the love, y'all, but I went with Antoine Raymond from Rutgers. Dude is a beast when he on the field, man. I think Bo's case is going to get hurt this year because I think we're going to have more of a two running back system like when we had Trey and Junkins. Isaiah West is coming though. He's a power runner, so I think he's gonna get used in a lot of different situations this year. He was the second best back on our team last year. I don't know why they wasn't giving him the ball. We seen it when they gave him the ball. He was the second best running back. He was breaking tackles left and right. But Antoine Raymond, man, I'm telling you, y'all got to check that kid out, bro. Y'all got to. I remember I told you about him, Rob. You got to check him out. That Rutgers team is a different team when he is on the field. I'm telling you, everybody, when he's on the field, everybody's game planning for him. With that being said, we probably about to have a clean sweep with this first receiver. Smitty. Smitty. Everybody Smitty. I don't think we really
Smitty.
Smitty from Old Block. I don't think we really need to get into that for real too much. So let's go ahead and just jump to our number two receiver. And let's start with you, Rob. Who you got as your second first team All Big Ten receiver?
I'm going with DeCorian Moore. I think DeCorian Moore out there at Oregon is going to be the guy, man. I know that he got a little banged up last year, but I feel like going into his freshman campaign, man, he was the best wide receiver coming out of high school. His route running, his ability to catch the ball. He has some shifty hips, man. I really like DeCorian Moore. If he can stay healthy, he's definitely going to be one of the top receivers in the Big Ten. So he's my second receiver on this first team, all offensive team in the Big Ten.
Yeah, I wrote Moore down, and then I scratched it out. Because I figured we were going to overload and I wanted to get some other people mentioned here. Because this could have been a clean sweep, too, on both slots here. But I took Nick Marsh. We saw what Surratt did last year at Indiana, and I think Marsh is a better version of that. So now, he doesn't have – we don't know, but he doesn't have Mendoza there throwing him the ball, the Heisman winner. He's got Hoover coming in. So we'll see how all the chemistry works. But I went with Nick Marsh. I just think Nick Marsh is going to put up crazy numbers this year.
Hey, listen, I'm on the same team, just a different receiver. I went with Charlie Becker. I went with Charlie Becker, bro. His run from the last 5 games of the season, from that Penn State game all the way on, that run was epic, bro, that he was on, bro. Every time they needed a play, he was the guy that was making it, and now, he's the elder statesman in that room. Surratt is gone, Cooper is gone, so he's the guy that knows the system and the offense, and the elder statesman. I think he due for a big year, man. And they say white men can't jump. That boy is athletic. He's one of the most athletic players in the country. I wouldn't be surprised if he went in the first round in the NFL draft after this year. That's how much I believe in that kid. That dude he's a monster though.
The kid hadn't stayed healthy, but that Becker reminds me of what Parker Livingstone could be if he could stay healthy. And I know that hurts, Rob, but it's true. They're both kind of the same body type, but Livingstone just can't seem to make it through a full year. So Becker's a good pick. I like that pick.
Hey, let's slide over to the defense. We're gonna start with you, Sean. Who you got as your number one defense in the Big Ten?
This one was a little bit tricky for me. I wound up just kind of looking at what's coming back, and I went Indiana on defense. I think what they did last year, some pieces they may have brought into, and what they've got back. I think Indiana's defense is going to be something to be reckoned with. I mean, look what they did last year, teams. They held Ohio State to what they held. What y'all score against them, Zay?
I think 10 or 13 or something like that.
I mean, it wasn't a typical Alabama team, but it's still Alabama. I mean, and they beat them 35-3. I mean, that defense was nasty, and I think it's going to be just the same. So I went Indiana.
Yeah, I went with Oregon. I feel like Oregon took a page out of Ohio State's book when they won the national championship. You had all of these dynamic defensive guys who came back for that final run, and they ended up winning the national title. Even though their bookends didn't have the kind of years that they had previously, they were still instrumental in that run for Ohio State and allowed Ohio State to be the best defense, I think, that season. I think that Oregon – bringing back all of those players from that defensive side of the ball, veteran guys who passed up on NFL money to come back and run it back to try to go and win a national title is probably going to be the best defense in this conference. Ohio State losing all that they lost, we still have to wait and see. We know they're going to be super uber talented. We love their coach and what he's able to do with his schemes. We just don't know yet because they're so young and they lost so much on their defense. But I'm going to go with Oregon. I think they're going to have a really talented defense, bringing back all that experience.
Man, just to add on to Rob and Oregon, man, they're going to have the best defensive line in the country. I really feel like that. Mateo Ugalele, Amari Washington, I don't know how to pronounce this name, but it's like Titor Tuato. I think I said that right. Bear Alexander, they got dudes everywhere. Finney Jr., he was a true freshman last year. He back. He was first team All-American, a freshman team. Then you got Coy Perch over from Minnesota, who was probably the second best safety in the conference behind Caleb Downs last year. Them dudes are going to be rough. But they don't got Matty P with the pencil in his ear. Matty P is he's a rocket science when it comes to defense, bro. And we kind of pivoted. We went to the portal to get a lot of experience. We're kind of easing off of doing as much high school recruiting. We still get guys, don't get it wrong, but we like going into the portal to get some of these guys that got a lot of games started under their belt. And we got a big blow in Caleb Downs. Sonny Styles and Arvell both went first round. I think it's going to be easier to replace those type of guys than a Caleb Downs. But Terry Moore, we've been hearing a lot about Terry Moore and how he's looking like he's turning around and back into form from 2 years ago of being an all ACC safety. Earl Little. We hearing that he's so gritty. He's going to be all over the field just like and deployed just like a Caleb Downs. We don't think he is Caleb Downs, but I think we could put him in position to have a all conference type of season as well. And just all the pieces throughout recruiting, of guys' names that y'all just might not know. We went through this last year. I was telling y'all this defense might be better than the year before. And this is another case in which this defense might be better than last year. And that's kind of scary thinking about how we had three first rounders last year, three of the top 15 picks, go from the defensive side of the ball um, into that draft last year. But this defense is really turning into something that's going to look real scary again. Hey, that's all I got though. We right at the hour mark. Y'all got anything else y'all want to holler about before we get up out of the building?
I got a question for
I
you
cannot
two. Do
believe
y'all have any question marks about y'all's team going into this season that you maybe not have gotten the answer to after spring ball, but you're looking forward to seeing if they get this question mark answered during fall ball?
Go ahead, Sean.
I do. I do. I got a couple. Main one is with what we lost in the NFL off the defense. Did we do enough to rebuild and stop the run game, the explosive run game? You're not going to ever really stop a run game, but the explosive 20-yard runs. That's my number one question. My number two question for us is, how do the new offensive and defensive coordinators fit in? Again, I'm not worried about defense because I know that's just a title. We all know Mike Elko is in charge of that. But my third question, and what I'm seeing is trending, making me feel really good, is that during our spring game, of course, we lost our starting linebacker, Damian Sanford, to what looked like a broken ankle, leg, something like that. But from what I'm seeing trending, it looks like he will be back at some point in the season, and more likely earlier than later. So I'm really glad for that. So those are my three big questions that I have.
Northside Roger said, Oregon going to continue to spend money and continue to be trash. Hey, I'm right with you, Northside. Hey, listen, they be good in the regular season, but when it comes to the postseason, they will get popped. Mark my word, it's like the Dallas Cowboys. What can go wrong? Stephen A. say it all the time. Will go wrong. Hey, but listen, man, I got questions too, man. Like, we returned the same line from last year outside of Tegra Shabola, who I don't know how he got drafted. His tape is awful. But shout out to him, man. His tape is awful though. This is some of the worst tape ever. But like, why I don't understand why our coaching staff really felt the need to shake up things on the offensive line how they did. You went. Austin Saraville was an all Big Ten tackle, but you moved him inside to play guard, which is his natural position, and I get that. But then you slide in Ian Moore to left tackle, which I'm fine with that. But why would you swap Austin Saraville from tackle when he was your best tackle last year and not move Phillip Daniels inside, which is more of his natural position anyway? I gotta wait to see how it look. We couldn't see it in the spring game because all those guys was out. They probably was just getting rest. They said a lot of them was banged up, but I think they was really just resting them and not, trying to give no film out to any other teams of what it's looking like. But I just don't understand. Left guard and center, we good. We understand that. Carson Heisman, he's going to be a stable. This is second year starting, and then you got Luke Montgomery over at left guard. That's fine. And I like Ian Moore getting slid in there because before Sam Greer came in, he was the only true tackle we damn near had on the roster, So I like all that, but I just don't understand that right side and what we doing with that. It just don't make no type of sense to me. Secondly, we still don't know who's going to emerge as this second receiver. We hearing names of Brock Boyd, Devin McEwen, and Kyle Parker. We got Chris Henry Jr. on the roster as well. I want to see somebody emerge and take that number 2 spot by the handles and run with it. I don't like hearing all these different names being thrown out, because what it tells me is that ain't nobody solidified themselves as the second guy behind Jeremiah Smith. And that's worrisome, because at the end of the day, you want your quarterback to rep with the guys that he's going to be able to depend on when you get into the middle of that schedule. So them is my 2 questions. Everything else, I finally got a kicker. Poe. If you watching, Poe, I got a kicker, bro. You know what I mean? So them are the only 2 questions I had, though. I feel real comfortable with Matty P and Larry Johnson and Tim Walton over there on the defensive side of the ball. They just got their own little island over there. We don't even worry about that section. Everything is offensive related.
Y'all, everybody needs to root against Oregon just because they have Bear Alexander on their team. I can't stand that dude.
How many different teams has he been on? At least 4, right?
He went to 4 different high schools.
He good, though. He's a good player, bro.
He went to 4 different high schools. Then he went to he went to 4 high schools, but then left and went to IMG Academy after enrolling in the 4th high school in Texas. Went to IMG, then went to Georgia, then went to USC. Now he's at Oregon. I mean, good Lord, come on. He like LeBron James, man. He just go all over. He going to play for every college.
Hey, you know what's funny? I'm going to send it to the group chat. Somebody sent me a picture of LeBron James wearing an Afrocentric Nubian jersey. Oh, my God. I was like, y'all fooling, man.
I'm going to give y'all a fun fact. This is little stuff that pops up that I checked into. This is going into one of the best baseball players ever, Clayton Kershaw. I told y'all he was the quarterback, or he was on the baseball team with Matthew Stafford in high school.
Mm.
Clayton Kershaw was the center on that football team.
What? How old was they, though?
Oh, they were 17, 18, in high school.
That's crazy.
And then here's the stat that I thought was just crazy. In a playoff game in high school baseball down in Texas for Highland Park, he threw a perfect game, all strikeouts. Now, the game was called after 5 innings, so he only threw 5 innings of 15 strikeouts. That's still impressive.
That's nuts.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah. So
I know they was mad. They got this pitcher we can't hit.
I'd have just bunted. Just get me out, but you ain't striking me out, bro.
Bro, the fastball was probably too fast for the bump, though.
Maybe I just jump in front of it. Maybe they give me a hit by pitch. I don't even know if I'd want to get hit by his pitch.
Let's tap into these comments from Northside real quick before we get out of here. Your staffing scheme will be ever the most important of any college team. Absolutely. Scheme matters, especially when you're trying to teach 18, 19, 20-year-olds that ain't ran something that's probably sophisticated like that in high school. He said, I will have coaches that talent over players. Yeah. With this new setup that we got out here too, Northside, you can have as many coaches as you want too. That's the good thing about it. You can have unlimited coaches. But all right, man, that's all I got.
Go look at A&M from the Jimbo year. That recruiting class, right? 2022. There was no development there. It was just, hey, you're a 5-star, you're a 5-star, you're a 5-star. And just throwing money at these 5-stars, trying to stack 5-stars. You can have 22 5-stars on your roster, but if they don't play in the scheme you need them to play and they don't fit, it ain't going to work. So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I do got one question for y'all before we jump out of here, too. I heard somebody ask somebody this question. I wanted to ask y'all. How many players, regardless of class, whatever year they are, how many players do y'all feel on y'all's roster are first round picks in the NFL draft?
Not this draft that's coming up, but on our roster that
Yeah, not just draft eligible, all together, whether they're freshmen, sophomores, whatever.
Man, I would imagine if you're thinking in the next 3 or 4 drafts, Texas gotta have to have at least 35 to 40 guys. I
First,
think they're
first
next
round,
year they're
first
gonna
round,
have
first
first. Oh,
round.
you talking about first round?
Yeah,
First
first
round?
round.
If you got
Uh,
35 or 40 in the first round, I'm quitting
yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
We just
Yeah,
cut
he
it.
said, I,
Let me,
I missed that
hey,
first round.
Mike, cancel the damn game, Mike.
I would say 12.
Yeah, thinking through it, what I see in the way Elko's developing players actually down there. Um, first round, I'm going to put A&M mainly probably around 12 to 15 due to offensive linemen. I think we've got a couple of offensive linemen that we could get two maybe in the first round in the next few years, two in each round. So, and some receivers coming. So I'm going to say 12 to 15 right in that range.
Yeah, my number was 15. Yeah, 12
Well,
to
of
15.
course, look who it is. I mean, come on. Y'all put like 87 kids in the first round last year.
Oh, y'all got the same numbers I got. Y'all got the same talent, it sounds like. Let's see what Northside. Teams like North Dakota State, BYU, Utah, Pitt, their staffs always getting posts for coaches. Hey, Northside Roger, I ain't gonna lie to you. Our staff at Ohio State get poached every year. Every year. People come to Ohio State to revive their career. Like you seen it with Chip Kelly. You seen it with Fry. I can't think of his first name. The offensive line coach. He at Miami now. Miami Dolphins. You know, you just see it everywhere all the time. You see Brian Hartline just left. We got our OG coaches like Larry Johnson, Tim Walton, and Matt Guerreri. They might not go nowhere, but everybody else, bro, they be out. They get their little 2 or 3 years. Tony Alfred that went over there. I mean, his name is Alfred, but we call him Alfred because he went to Michigan. You know, like what are you doing? You know, our coaches always get poached up.
Yeah, when you look at those teams that he named, a lot of those teams like that, they get young guys who they give young guys an opportunity who turn out to be some really good coaches, and they end up getting poached to some other school because they're trying to climb the ladder. And where when you look at like a team like Texas, they have gotten a lot of coaches on their staff who are guys who have been head coaches before. They've run their race already, and now they just like, oh well, the nature of the game now is giving out all this money. Let me just go ahead and stick to being a position coach because I don't think Cal Flood has any aspirations of being a head coach anymore. I don't think Will Muschamp has any aspirations for being a head coach anymore. And so you get guys like that who run your coordinator positions, and they just aren't looking to go elsewhere. Now we do have some guys that are on our staff that are younger, and they're going to eventually go somewhere. But for the most part, I see Steve Sarkisian trying to get some of those veteran guys who've already had head coaching experience that really aren't looking to do anything other than being a position coach or being a coordinator and can stay put. They're not trying to go anywhere else. But I like those teams that he named because they got up and coming guys that they give an opportunity to, and when those guys do well, they end up going to another upper echelon Power 4 school.
That's it. I mean, we've mentioned this before on stream. I know Rob and I both agreed with it that a lot of times you'll see SEC coaches stay in the SEC instead of going and getting what's the guy's name? I'm not going to use Signetti because that's an example everybody knows. He's Bob Chesney, the head coach down at was at James Madison last year. He went to UCLA. Well, he has to build his staff for recruiting where, like in the SEC, our defensive coordinator, we picked Lyle Hemphill. He has huge, massive ties for recruiting. So you'll see SEC schools say, hey, why don't you come over here? You can be an assistant, but I know you have killer ties in Florida for recruiting. So I need you on my staff. That's how the SEC, that's why you'll see a lot of these SEC coaches just rotating between schools in the SEC. Because if they fire Mike Elko, his staff is obviously going to be gone because the new coach will bring in theirs. But if I know Lyle Hemphill has a massive role in recruiting in Georgia, then I'm going to be a new coach coming in trying to keep him with me, even in a different role for recruiting proud, because these coaches have spent years. That's why I say Joey McGuire has such an advantage in Texas recruiting because he coached high school ball
Yeah, that is true.
All right, man. That's all I got. Anything else y'all want to chop it up about? Shit, I got time today for real.
I ain't got time. I got to go.
All right, man. Hey, we appreciate everybody that tuned in, man. We appreciate you, Northside Rogers, for being active in the chat. All the channels from everybody that's connected with WTP Sports Dudes are scrolling down at the bottom. You got Rob right there, top right corner at WTP for Life. You got SEC Sean. You can find his podcast on YouTube as well. All you got to do is search SEC Sean. You got Level Up Sports 10 with JoJo Mossberg. You could tune in. He has conversations with Mossberg on Wednesdays. You also got Post Game with the Post Game 86 podcast. His show is on Thursdays. You could tune in to him as well. You also got T1 with City League TV. That was in the stream at the beginning. I don't know. I thought he was coming back. Where you go, T? But you can find City League TV on Facebook. You also got Parlay Poe of the Blitzburg podcast that you can find on YouTube as well. And that don't forget to tap into the WTP Sports Dudes website at WTPSportsDudes.com. Hey, you can leave your comments there, anything you want asked, or any ideas, suggestions you got for a show that you want. You can definitely tap into that website and put the comments on that website, and we will see it, and we will get around to all your comments and feedback. Also, the Patreon. You can get on Patreon and find podcasts if that's how you like to choose to listen to your podcast, your favorite podcast, at WTP Sports Dudes 2026. And that's it, man. All right, man. I appreciate you fellas jumping on, man. That was good talks. I hope y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Sunday. It done cooled down a little bit, so y'all can go outside. All right, fellas. We was in the building. Now we out. Peace.
Peace.